So it's electrics time, and in order to put all the wires into the walls before the insulation goes in and before you put the boarding on the inside of the walls and ceiling, you have to put all the wires in. So you have to sort of plan it all out, kind of have a rough idea, or pretty accurate idea, where you want all of your electrical gizmos, heating, lights, water pump, USB sockets, all those kinds of things. So let me show you where I've got to. Okay, so I've been, oh look at that, there's loads of stuff going on. So just a quick, my plan so far is to put 2 batteries in there, another battery here, and then this board is going to go into that space there vertically up there, right? Then obviously the seat will go back on. So this is where I've got to at the moment. So basically the idea is to put this nice big board out, and you put all of your items. So that's the solar panel controller for the solar panels there. Obviously the wires go in there. And then you've got this basically takes power off the alternator, the van battery, the electricity from the van when it's running, and can charge up the battery banks. This is a pure sine wave inverter, and then we've got various fuses, and we've got some block bars or bus bars, whatever they're called there, and those are kind of the place where the main electrics get hooked into. So I'm just sort of prepping it at the moment, laying it all out, and at a certain point when it's all kind of arranged, I will fit it into place. So that's the plan, and I'm just at that sort of initial planning stage. Nothing's been fixed as yet, but I'm just sort of mapping it all out. So tune back in and see how things progress. This is the main battery bank underneath the passenger seat. So this is a few things that I'm just storing here for the moment. But okay, so underneath here you've got a wedge there that stops these moving at all. There's no movement there whatsoever. And underneath there's a similar one underneath here where it can't go left to right. The wires now are through some grommets. So let's have a look at this on the other side. Got some grommets coming out here, and these are quite heavy gauge wires that can cope with a lot of current. That's the whole point about these big thick wires. They can cope with high current. And then I'm going to put the board on there. This board here is going to go upright. These wires will come through to the other side, and I will be hooking them up to these fuses. Okay, some 50 amp trip fusey type things. Okay, and that combined with the other battery that's going to go on the floor here, that will set up the basis of the energy for powering the electrics of the van, all coming mainly from these 3 batteries. That's where the juice now. How these batteries get topped up is a separate question, but it involves solar panel and the alternator of the van. Those are the ways that these batteries get topped up. But I'm just at this point now where I'm almost ready to sort of set them up and wire the batteries into the fuses, and then they'll be connected to the bus bar, and that will provide 12-volt electrics for everything in the van. Okay, it's progressing. Little update on what's going on with the installation of the electrics. I've been starting to put together the electric board. We've got the batteries, all the positives from the other side coming through, joining this one into a switch, a master on-off switch. Each battery has a local fuse right next to the positive terminal. We have the solar panels coming in there, connecting to the solar charger, and all the negatives of the battery. The batteries are connected through to the negative bus bar there. There's the batteries in the front. Again, they've all got a fuse right next to the positive, and all of the positive and negative wires from the batteries are the same length. So there we go, a little update so far for the electrical system. Hello. So, electrics, where are we at? Let me give you a quick update as to the progress of the stage 1 of the electrics. So here we are. This is the completed main battery power area. I'll give you a quick rundown. Okay, so we have the main battery, and there's 2 other batteries underneath the seat there. There's 2 other batteries just the same as that, and they're all running in parallel. There's 1 lead there, 2 out there, and they all come to this master on-off switch for all 3 batteries. There we have a positive, then goes to the positive line, and we have the negative from all of the batteries. There's a negative line comes to the negative, and all those leads are exactly the same length, and that means that the draw, as the energy is drawn from the batteries or supplied from the batteries, it draws upon all the batteries equally. Okay, so that's the idea behind that. So you have 12 volts here, and that's the negative there. We also have a line that goes from here. This is the earth, from the negative bar to the body, literally the body of the van, that creates like an earth for the system. Okay, which is connected to the negative of the starter battery as well. Okay, from there we have the solar panel. We have a master on-off. So as the solar energy comes in from the leads under there, there's the leads that they come in there. Positive, negative, they go through the main on-off switch of the solar panel and into the charge controller. From there we have the negative and positive out. There's a fuse there, okay, a 50 amp fuse for overload, and then that connects up to the positive rail. Okay, so if ever you need to isolate the power going into the system, and you have to turn that off and turn that off, and then that cuts out all of the power to the system. Although, strictly speaking, you could say that there is another form of power, and that is the starter battery, which is actually underneath the cover in the front area there. The starter battery, which is connected to the alternator, enables the van. When the van's creating a lot of power, it comes through. Where have we got? We've got the power. Oh, there we go. There it is. So the power from the alternator comes into here, the split charge, and this is the on-off switch for the split charge controlling unit. Now this then connects to the batteries, the battery bank, okay, through the positive and negative there. So this thing basically takes the power from the alternator, and when the vehicle's running, it's charging up this battery bank, okay, so pushing energy and charging up the system. And it's very powerful actually. So this can go up to about 50 watts if you had a super, like you're in the desert or something. I don't know. I've got the solar panel on the roof is like 500 watts, so you've got maximum 500 watts at 12 volts is something like what's 12s into 500? Anyway, it's near 50 amps. It's about 40-ish amps or something. So that's the maximum that I could probably get there. Whereas this the power off the starter battery off the alternator is quite a lot, and you can create a lot of power. So this unit is great for charging up your battery, your leisure batteries, and there's 3 there, so it's quite a big power bank to charge up. Okay, so that's another power source. Okay, so there you got the isolating the split charge unit there, and then there's a fuse on the output as well. Okay, so coming over to this little bit, we have this is the starter battery charger. Okay, so let's say you've got a few cold days in a row, the battery's a bit low, you haven't moved the van very much. Well, a little bit of trickle charge comes off the leisure battery through this system here, okay, and then over to the starter battery, and that enables, that's not it, this bit here, there's a fuse at the end of this. There's a fuse as well. So basically, this little unit enables the van main starter battery to remain full of power, so that even on days when you're not using the vehicle for long periods of time, or it's not for whatever reason, basically, or there's lots of cold weather or something, then you're basically, the van starter battery still has good charge because of this little device here. Okay, moving on, we have a 1000 pure sine wave inverter that mimics perfectly the sine waves expected from AC power, and that produces can you see it there? There's a 3-pin socket there. Okay, so and then we've got the main on-off switch for that there. So, and then when you need the 1000 watts, because it uses power. If you turn it on, it uses a little bit of power just in sort of a standby mode. So you keep it off normally, but when you need the power, you just come in, turn it on, and there you go. You've got 240 volts. Obviously, there can be a big draw, a large amount of power drawn from that, and so you have to have a fairly big on-off switch, like 80 amps or something can go. Right, and then finally we have an extra 12 volts feed for what's called this sort of like the main sort of 12 volt block, as it were, and this basically is a place where you put all of the different items, you put a fuse in each of those, and you put and then you connect your fridge, you connect your lights, you connect your water pump, your heating system, your stereo, and all these different things. They all fit into there, and they've all got their own individual fuses. Okay, all installed and working correctly. So there is this battery powered system that I've wired into. And this basically is the sort of the nucleus of the power for the camper van side of things. So it's important to get the safety right, and also all of the electrics right. So everything has to be grounded and earthed and all this sort of stuff. And loads of research on the internet, and that was quite a big sort of mission to get that installed, and I think it's gone pretty well. Still got to test it a little bit more. Hence, having a fire. There is a fire extinguisher. You're very wise. You've got to do these things, because if there was ever, it has happened before. I had a system originally, and I didn't follow the instructions correctly. It was a bit complicated. There was a lot of stuff going on, and I put the thing right, and that suddenly, there's a lot of power, a lot of energy there, and fires can happen. It's just a truism, and the batteries get old and then they can malfunction. So there's all sorts of potentials for quite powerful energies going wrong. So it's good to have a fire extinguisher and all of that sort of stuff in reserve should the worst ever happen. Okay, that's my electrical system. Next on the task is I've got to build a little cabinet around it. All that's going to be boxed in. And then the next system is I've got loads of wires waiting in the wings, and basically I've got to funnel in all of the wires into the ceiling, into the walls, and have lots of wires coming out the walls waiting to be attached to various lights and fridges and powers and all that kind of stuff. That's the next part 2 of the electrical install, is going to be putting the wires into the frame, into the walls and the ceiling of the van. Catch you on the next one. Bye.